Hello, and welcome back to Therapist Plays The Stanley Parable. And it looks like it's just Stanley now that the settings person hasn't returned. I'm a little disappointed by that. But he did say that we can find him again at some point, so we're just going to start.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Yes, it is. Now, I'm curious if we will get the same story, considering we did start the deluxe content last time. Let's find out.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
So the last time I went through the new... Oh, look at that. new content. Okay. I like that. I am distracted by something shiny.
Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Curious. The narrator didn't like the new content last time. This has me feeling a little suspicious. Last time he actually led me away from the new content.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra-deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra-deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
Wow! But why? Why, narrator?
Isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
Could it actually go in so many directions, or is it, like, really just the same thing again? I'm actually curious. It certainly looks a little different. A little more stylish, I guess. Okay. Investor showcase. Oh, is it like...
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2. Now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
You know, one of the, like, major vibes I get from the narrator, and I know this is not like a new kind of commentary, is that he's someone who kind of struggles with perfectionism. As I'm sure that many creatives out there watching or listening do. Now, I myself would definitely say that there was a time where I was quite perfectionistic, but not anymore. I actually have really grown out of that mindset the more I've gotten into like my own creative pursuits, which have been, it's been a long journey to find something like this that I don't find myself being my own barrier all the time. Like, I've done music, I've done writing, I've done like all kinds of stuff, art, acting. I've tried many outlets basically, and it's taken most of my life to figure this out. And so I think, you know, as much as we like to talk about the relationships and like kind of the more subtextual dynamics between Stanley and the narrator, I feel like in whatever reality that we're in right now, we're going to get a close look at the psyche of someone who has crippling perfectionism, crippling in the sense that it causes anxiety. And like, yeah, I use this word with like no romanticism. Like, being a perfectionist is not cool. It sucks. Like, you basically feel like everything you make is terrible all the time, unless it is exactly how you want, and it never is. And so you're just sort of stuck in this. But we will visit this subject, and I will expose you to the solution. if the game provides us sufficiently with the problem. So let's see what we get. Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. Building castles in the sky. Just the two of us, you and I. Great. And I think that's actually one of the reasons the narrator struggles, is because like his creation can never be perfect, because it requires Stanley, who is an agent of chaos, who never does what he expects him to do. In the very rare case that, yeah, we did it one time. There's one route where if we listen exactly to the narrator, that's what we get. But every other time, Stanley does something that the narrator doesn't expect, and that creates anxiety for him. So that's the thing I'm keeping in mind as we listen to what the hell is going on with all this. Very, very, very hip, this office space. What do we got here? The color red. More Stanley Parable. Better Stanley Parable. Productivity words. Okay. Logo ideas. All right. That's literally two Stanleys.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Really? This is definitely an aspect of some perfectionistic ailments, which is like that paralysis when it comes to like tying together the ideas, like making these things that they're perfect because they're abstract. And like, I'm not a game developer, but I understand like other creative processes as being very much about like starting with your idea is great, but at some point you're going to have to make it tangible, and it's going to have to interact with like the game systems and the logic of the engine. And there's, you know, marketing considerations if you're, you know, planning to sell it and all those things. And like your perfect abstract idea is going to need concreteness, which is like not the zone that we really want to go in for the particularly ill perfectionistic creative type.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
I do like this aesthetic though. It's very it's very new for the sake of being new. The button that says the name of the player that is playing the game, that's new. Okay. I want to push that button.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name is Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along.
Oh God,
you'll love it.
This is giving me flashbacks. I've already role-played as a Jim.
Clear your mind,
I didn't like it.
Forget whoever you are and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing all the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so,
Yes.
then please step forward and press the button.
Yes, I feel like a Jim.
Yes! You see? What a thrill! What a rush! It was you! The button described you. Do it again. Do it again.
Jim.
It hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation.
So the story that we're seeing play out right now is less to me about like the fact that there are all these new things, but we are still in the Stanley Parable 1, and the Stanley Parable 1 is about the narrator telling us to do things and us doing different things. Okay. Now, the reason he gets frustrated by that is also the reason why people struggle with perfectionism, and it has to do with what I'm just going to call expected outcomes. Okay. And this is just like kind of an interesting thing that our brains do, which is how we feel emotionally about something is kind of determined by how we expected the experience to go. So for example, if I jump into the pool on purpose, I'm having a great time. That's a great time. You know, I can have a lot of fun in the pool. If I fall into the pool or get pushed into the pool, I'm not having a fun time. I hate this experience. I do not want to be in the pool, right? And like, it's the same experience, but it's just, what did I expect to happen? If my expectation is that like jumping in the pool is going to be great, I'm probably going to have, you know, that experience. And it's not a guarantee. Okay, your expectation can't determine reality. I could jump into the pool and it could be like freezing cold and that would still suck. But you've sort of primed your brain for a certain kind of emotion. And the more you like expect that emotion, you're at least sort of in the range of what the experience will be like. But if someone just like sort of pushes me into the fucking pool, I'm not primed for that. I'm primed to get upset, right? And so the narrator has created this entire reality that we're living in, both the Stanley Parable 1 and 2, at least like his intended path, right? And he has certain expected outcomes. Like he wants Stanley to feel a certain way. You could just see right there. He's like, look, you have to imagine your gym. If you don't do it, it doesn't work. And when the thing says it's going to do that and we click it, okay, that's great. Like now we're having a great time. But he's telling me now not to continue doing it. He's emotionally drained. So what happens if I keep doing it?
Whoa there, cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much, Jim. I'm putting the Jim button away. Otherwise, soon you'll start to lose all sense of who you actually are.
Jim.
No! What have you done? You've made me roleplay as Jim, and I can't just stop being Jim. So let's test the limits here on busting up the narrator's expected outcomes. Okay. What if I push these other buttons? Okay, I can't do that. And so what I'm getting at here is that part of like the struggle with creative perfectionism is that like, if you do have a strong vision about something, like your expectation is going to be so clear with how it should look, feel, sound, play, whatever it is you're creating. And it's always slightly not enough. You know, there's always a little bit more you could sort of adjust. And that tends to create some paralysis in you until like you get the expected outcome. Okay. And so this has pretty deep implications for like...
I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable too. That would actually save me the work of finishing this feat.
This is a little strong coping. This has really deep implications for like how people deal with anxiety. You know, sometimes I work with people who have a sense of food scarcity. Basically meaning that they probably grew up in an environment where like it was not always guaranteed that they were going to have food. You know, maybe this was a competitive home environment and they were a family that was struggling financially or whatever the reason, right? Sometimes I work with people who are coming from being unhoused, and they also have a sense of food scarcity for obvious reasons. And so even when this person is not in a situation where there is actual food scarcity, we've developed that coping mechanism and that survival skill around like making sure that like we have enough food. And so sometimes you see the behavior of like having way more than is needed, or when food starts to run out, even though they may now have the means, like they're not in this environment anymore, they have the means to replenish it, it still creates anxiety. Because their expectation based on experience is that like it's going to run out and I'm not going to be able to get more. And so the treatment for that is exposure therapy, right? And so I'll do this exercise of expected outcomes with them. And I'll say something like, okay, if you go into the pantry and your expectation is that like all of the food that you put in there was going to be there, and you discover that like some of it is missing, maybe they live with someone or they have kids, and you know, and one of the kids ate like a sleeve of Oreos or something, and when you don't expect that, you get anxiety. You're like, holy shit, like I only have half the sleeve left. and now my food scarcity gets activated, right? It brings up that stress response. And so the exposure here is literally just like allow yourself to experience the scarcity so long as you have expectation for it. If your plan is to jump into the pool, you're just going to have a different emotional reaction. And so we're trying to sort of expand this person's window of tolerance. Okay, like how much they can sort of survive what feels like an intolerable experience. And we do that through exposure. So I am going to perform this exposure therapy on the narrator by denying him of his own expected outcomes so that he can learn to deal with them. Now let's go check out this infinite hole.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
Oh. Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday, stepniece. I mean, I have to go with Get Well Someday. That's hilarious.
Sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, stepniece, it is.
No, that sucks. The hell?
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision. We're moving on.
Are you sure? Can always try again.
Come,
Could always...
you've already made your choice. It's true that you chose badly, but we all have to move on from our mistakes.
Okay. This is like one of my drawings. Just some fucking hand scratch bullshit. Okay, I feel a little called out by this. It sometimes feels like what I'm drawing. The infinite hole chart just keeps going.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Okay. It's a little strange. Should I should I go into the infinite hole?
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things. Okay, Stanley, I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole. Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling.
Why are there all these cigarettes down here?
A person actually wants to fall infinitely. I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem.
I'm definitely the problem.
Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
The thing is that I love exposure therapy because it's one of the most insight-provoking things, right? As long as you sort of know how to facilitate it. Like, obviously, I can't speak directly to the narrator and provide the sort of context of why I would be doing these things, like sort of testing his boundaries and limits. Whereas with a client, I can, we can sort of talk out like the food scarcity issue and what some of the expected outcomes should be and that sort of thing. Here, I just get to be kind of stubborn and bothersome, and I get my own certain kind of joy from that experience. Doesn't seem like there's much else I can do down here, though, so I'm gonna pop back up.
Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel. Oh, for heaven! You see, I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there, goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of... Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter to you this time? I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole, but I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above.
Okay.
Had enough? I'm positively thrilled. I really do have so much more to show you and to talk about, and I've had enough of the hole for a lifetime.
And another thing that you can see with the whole expected outcomes thing when you deal with like social anxiety is you'll hear like people all the time say, oh, I don't want to go to that event. I'm going to have such a bad time. And it's like, yes. What kind of like time do you think you're going to have if you expect it to be terrible? Like, you're going to be primed to be sensitive to the things that you don't like about it. Oh, this is going to be such a shitty job. Or, oh, like, it's so boring whenever we go there. And it's like, yeah, I mean, you start closing off your awareness to outcomes you don't expect. Which, again, coming back to this idea, like, it really limits your window of tolerance to all kinds of stressors, right? And stressors could range from, like, negative events, but also to, like, the agony of having to be patient with someone.
Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where... Wow. Okay. Yes. I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite. I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability and marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter.
Oh, I know what I'm going to do.
Oh, there it is. The shame of my lie has come to haunt me. Not only is the hole not infinite, but it's barely even a hole at this point. It's more of a concavity, or even a very aggressive...
I don't care. I just like messing with him. Now that he's interested, I want to like go away from it.
How is this still appealing to you? You're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do.
Well, I'm actually stuck here now.
Button when you're ready to move on.
Oh.
Is the teleport button not working?
It's not working. It's not doing what I expected.
Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation. It was working just a moment ago. Try it again. Still nothing?
Nothing.
Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out.
Help me.
Goodbye, Stanley.
What?
Bear to be away from the hole. And
No!
more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's a win for everyone. You get to be with the hole. I get to do literally.
No! What is happening? I got reverse psychology.
I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of eternity.
Damn it! I got outplayed. I expected to mess with him until fuck. I should have just walked away from the goddamn hole. I got reverse Uno'd. Oh, this relationship is so toxic. I pull on his strings, he pulls on mine. Oh my god. Wait, something unexpected is happening right now. What is this? Where am I going? Why does the music make it sound like something really profound is happening? I'm just in a hole. Change your perspective. Oh my god. Now this is gameplay. Change your perception. What the fuck is happening? Change your reality. So chat, this is what exposure therapy really feels like. when you expose yourself to unexpected outcomes. This is the real experience of therapy, working exactly as intended. It's supposed to feel exactly like Stanley is feeling right now. Just complete tonal and sensory whiplash. And the narrator's missing everything.
Stanley! Oh, good, you're awake. It seems you had sort of dozed off there, drifting away into dreamland.
No, I want to go back.
That's Stanley, because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second. You don't want to miss a single moment. So how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really, truly focused on the hole? From the looks of things, you and I will have many, many years here in this hole. Looking forward to all of them. Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back. Toodlepip.
Okay, actually though, get me out of this fucking hole. God damn it, I got so played. I played right into the hand that I was trying to deal to the narrator himself. Is that an ending? The infinite hole ending.
Go on, try out some of the new features.
All right. Well, that was interesting. No screenshots, please. Why is it doing that? Why is it beeping? Does it know I took a screenshot? I'm gonna take so many screenshots. I'm sure the community page on Steam is just it's so littered with this garbage. The jump circle. Oh, I mostly infinite hole. I liked the jump circle. Okay. Well, what else do we have? Reassurance bucket. What is that?
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try.
I mean, he does have a point that at least the like original lines in the Stanley Parable are about like the narrator has certain expected outcomes for how the story is supposed to go, and the player, Stanley, our expectation after playing it for about 5 minutes is that like doing things that are contradictory to that, like our expectation is that the narrator has a freak out or Stanley has a freak out or something funny, something different happens. Some sort of novelty comes in. Now, as much as anxiety management is about like expanding this window of tolerance, okay, it's also making sure that things don't limit that window of tolerance. Because like on any given day, you might be like pretty tolerant of unexpected things happening, but all kinds of factors could influence this, you know? Like if you're just hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, HALT is the acronym that we sometimes bring up, like that you probably need to practice some self-care and get out of that state, because any one of those things can kind of like narrow this down and make you less tolerant to the unexpected, which is where you'll most likely behave in less consistent ways with yourself. Okay, you might see yourself become uncharacteristically avoidant, isolative, lazy, irritated, not because those are part of your personality, but because this window is much more narrow than sort of your baseline. And unfortunately, some people just like live that way. Their window of tolerance is like very narrow. And it seems like if anything doesn't go according to plan, they have a lot of anxiety, right? And so we want to expand that, like with as much exposure as we can, and having good coping skills, which I'm being sold that this is like a coping bucket.
Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Okay. I guess I have a bucket now. That's cool. I wonder what I can do with it.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
What else do we have here? We've got the reassurance bucket, the gym button. I really liked the gym button. New and easy achievement. Fine, it ended. The infinite hole. Yeah, we went down that. Let's see if the narrator has upgraded the jump circle at all. Because that was like his least favorite feature of the previous content. How has he enhanced this feature?
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's a... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle. Oh well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then.
What? That's it? What about a crouch circle? That's lame. I expected to be able to jump. Okay. Collectibles? Can you find them? I don't know.
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Okay. Why is the Stanley Parable 2 so much more dramatic? Oh my god. Is that it?
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
All right, I gotta be honest, I'm not seeing the vision here, narrator. I mean, Stanley looks happy though. He looks happy to be in the sequel. Pull the lever, receive the achievement, no more steps. Okay.
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes, you see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that.
Okay, so I am expecting, playing a Stanley Parable game, to have alternative routes, like major deviations to follow than what the narrator wants me to do. But I'm feeling very funneled into his designed experiences.
Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully...
Bro, your game sucks.
But I guarantee it will. To at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers...
I don't think you understand
and I
the Stanley Parable. Because this shit is this isn't the Stanley Parable I know. This isn't the narrator who I have seen try to adapt a new storyline out of wild tangents that the players make.
Haven't we seen yet?
This just seems like a bunch of random gimmicks, which I realize is the point. For those lost this deep into the playthrough, most of what I'm saying is acting. I'm not really frustrated. I'm not really confused. I don't really hate the narrator. Those are part of the character of the role play so that I can demonstrate the topic I'm talking about. Which you're experiencing like the Stanley Parable 2 version of the Eurobrady playthrough, where I have to sort of explain the point to those who are missing it, and thereby removing some of the charm. Wait, what did that say? Did that say settings? World champion? Let me in there. I want to see the settings person again. Well, I didn't see them before. What the hell? There's a new thing door. Okay, let's go in it.
An
Epilogue.
would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, yes, it will go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Bro. Where's that game, though? Where's that game? Is this... What is this? What can I go this way? Exit. Yeah, bro. I'm not feeling it. I think the Stanley Parable 1 was better.
All right, have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
Yes. What is this? What have you got?
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
Wow.
Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let
Bring
me
it
do
up.
a different arrangement.
Bring up the anxiety.
Okay, yes. Yes.
It's not turning out how you liked.
Better. I feel good about this.
It's not turning out how I liked either.
Version 2. Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Okay. The Stanley Parable 2. Let's see. Let's see what he's got. So earlier, I had said that I myself struggled with a lot of the things that the narrator seems to in terms of like perfectionism and kind of obsession with the quality of his creations. Again, to the point of like disrupting the flow of creative ideas and potentially even creating anxiety. And for me, at least, like the thing that I needed to realize, two things actually, is that I had the assumption that perfectionism was somehow about like judging myself, you know, like it was my own standards that I was sort of trying to live up to, and that I was sort of like unfairly judging the standards to be of like really high quality before I could move forward on anything. But at least for me, when I started sort of digging into this, I realized that like it's actually my fear of being unfairly judged by others that, you know, like I'm gonna have the perfect version of something in my head and I'm not gonna translate that perfectly to whatever I create. That's just a fact that I and everyone else has to accept. And the worry is that other people will judge this unfairly, that they won't get it, They won't get what the vision was. And oh, I hope they understand that some of the quality is lost in the translation. And there's this like anxiety that comes up around like, this feels very lonely then. The perfect version of your creation is something only you can experience. And it's not that like I'm really making it to my own standard and that's it. It's like I intend to share this thing, and I can't control what other people's standards are, and I also can't deliver them something that is actually to my own standard. Like, it's just not possible. So that was realization number one, that like actually it's not so much about fear of myself, it's fear about other people. Like, are they going to judge this thing fairly? And I just came to accept that, one, it's okay if they don't, but most people will judge it fairly. Like, people can be quite understanding, you know, as we can, and that not everything is going to be perfect. And so this doesn't just apply to creation, but perfectionistic tendencies in like behavior and relationships. You know, there's a certain kind of relationship that stagnates because one person feels like they are never living up. You know, I'm going to be unfairly judged by my partner unless I'm like the perfect person all the time. And what that actually ends up doing is creating more pressure on the other person. You have all these expected outcomes of how they're going to act and how much intimacy there should be and all kinds of things. And like, the more that we dig into this, the less those expected outcomes ever come true. So that was the first thing. Realizing that like I'm not necessarily up against my own standards all the time. It's up to other people's that I'm worried about. And that's an easier, more workable thing, for me at least. Learning to accept that people can and will judge you unfairly. But you learn to tolerate this. You expand your window of tolerance to that. But that a majority typically do judge you pretty fairly. But the other idea that has really helped me is iterate to completion, which is essentially not trying to be so iterative on a single step. Like when I was writing a lot, I would like rewrite the first chapter of my book over and over and over until it was perfect, right? It's the first impression. I'm worried that other people are going to judge the rest of the book based on, I got to have the perfect first sentence, the first word. The title screen has to be the most captivating thing. Like, it's exactly like this. But then I never created anything. I had like 700 drafts of chapter 1, and this is like more unsatisfying than anything else. And so I realized I need to stop iterating on the steps of a project, the individual components. And I need to iterate on the entire thing until it is finished, and then iterate on aspects of it in the next attempt. And that came into play with like these videos, for example. Like, you know, I've iterated on the style and this like way I do my whiteboard thing, but like I try to finish out a video with an idea before I attempt the next video. I don't just sort of busy myself with iterating and doing an edit and like spending, you know, so much time on the finer details like I used to. Because more often than not, I find that like in creativity and in life, mental health, whatever we're talking about, you know, I start off here and I want to be here, but you would be losing something if you could just jump to the top of what you wanted, right? If you could have the perfect experience, if you could just get through your anxiety, if you could be in good physical shape, whatever it is, because the actual learning happens on your way up and on your way down as you realize that you got halfway up and struggled to make progress here and you have to double back, and like, it's in the journey, not the destination, essentially, right? But like, that's such an alleviating mindset to know that you, one, don't have to perfect anything. You're not going to please anyone anyways. But you will actually get closer to your idea of perfection when you iterate to completion on things. And so I'm a big fan of like slowing down. Slow down and try to understand like the process of what you're doing. If we're doing exposure therapy on anxiety, like, let's not rush that process. If you're trying to get something right, don't slow down to a glacial pace to where nothing actually happens, but finish it out and take your iteration on the next thing slowly. Okay. And I'm curious, concerned, that the narrator is showing a lot of the signs that I had, that like, I gotta make a big dramatic presentation, okay? My attempt to create gimmicks didn't work. It didn't do shit. I'm disappointed in that. And so my perfectionistic tendency says make a big splash, but then sort of rush to some of these new additions. Like, part of the beauty of the original Stanley Parable, both the actual game and the meta narrative here, is that like you had to sort of slowly discover these alternative routes. And I wonder if the narrator is going to be like kind of rushed to present them to you because he craves that feedback or is so anxious about how it worked out that he needs to know sooner. Let's find out. Okay. Well, we've got the balloons.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay. Not sure what these have really added, narrator. Stepneys. Can I... Oh, okay. Why can I close that door?
Stanley felt the bucket calling to him, begging him to pick it up.
The bucket?
Why was he not doing it?
Where's the bucket? I don't see a bucket. Oh, that bucket. I didn't even realize it was there. Okay, I'll try it. I'll pick up the bucket.
Up the bucket.
That's it? That's all you have to say?
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Well, I know this story. Let's actually see what happens if we just follow the direction. I want to see what his perfect vision in this new world looks like.
Here, Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
Okay, not going to the broom closet this time.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him.
So dramatic.
Always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck.
Look at that.
Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Okay. Is this going to add anything meaningful to the experience?
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Everything doesn't feel fine.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
But it doesn't look like last time I was here. Where's all this new content, friend?
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
Am I going to end up doing a fucking therapy episode on our relationship with the bucket?
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble.
Feeble?
No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
There is one major ending that we didn't try. We didn't try going all the way here and then not
Here was the
shutting it down.
The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began...
Where's the gym button?
Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
So now I'm not only going to betray the narrator, I'm going to be betraying the bucket as well. It's certainly not the outcome he expects. Let's power it on.
But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls.
Bucket!
Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds. Silly, silly birds. The control buttons became active again.
What is happening? I'm feeling like I'm in the infinite hole again.
Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another.
Which was not a bad time, by the way.
This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world. The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his
I'm okay with this.
This one was surely the best.
I don't disagree with that.
Was happy.
These are some silly birds. What? You're just gonna take that away from me? I was happy there. I was happy. And that's one of the frustrations I have is like, the expected outcome I get from video games is like some kind of closure, some kind of resolution. And this game never gives it to you. It's not really a part of the game to give that to you. Which like, it's bringing back like my perfectionism tendencies where like, I have a problem where I really do like to finish games. I like to come to some sort of like point of closure with them. I hate abandoning games even if I don't like them. I will if I like really dislike it. But if there are things I like about it, but I only like it 40% or something, I'll probably play it till the end because I sort of crave the closure of, iterating to completion even. Not necessarily the best feeling. But I never get that sense of resolution here. It's so anticlimactically just resets. I
Stanley
don't
simply couldn't handle the pressure.
I don't want to go out
Make
there.
a decision. What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly.
Can I just stay in
The
here?
thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Is that it? Come on. It can't be that unsatisfying.
Handle the pressure. His responsibility.
Am I actually stuck in here now?
No. This couldn't go any way except badly.
Well, this is a very odd point to come to in our playthrough, because I feel like as deep as I am enmeshed psychologically with this game, it's kind of enmeshed with me as well. Like, I don't know what to expect. Does this game ever actually end? I know it says that it never is. It's just getting weird. The fucking game has like different elements. There's new content, but there also isn't. There's a fucking bucket. Like, it feels like it's unraveling. that I'm losing the ability to anticipate even the themes as clearly, which in a way is kind of also exactly what I'm talking about, which is thematic. What a weird game. What a weird game and a weird relationship to develop with it. No, fuck, I did not want to do that. No, I'm stuck in here again. God damn it. I don't want to be stuck in there. Fuck. Okay. There's gotta be something.
Because we're gone.
There's gotta be something else.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
All right, this time, where's the new content door? My window of tolerance is now shrinking.
Came to a set
Wait,
of two
I didn't even get the bucket.
He entered the door on his left.
This is a disaster.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
I don't even know what's happening now.
By the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
My tolerance window is shrinking. I'm making erratic decisions.
Truly a room worth admiring. But eager to get back to business,
I'm in a rush.
first opened.
I'm not willing to listen. I don't know what else is happening. What's gonna happen?
Bad at following directions. It's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing
How do I get over
trust
there?
in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you... What? Really?
Yes.
In the middle of something, do you have zero
Yes.
consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you?
Yes.
I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it.
Your creation's not perfect, and I am not a perfect thing.
Chance.
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment
Savoring.
across one of these beautiful figurines.
I do like to savor things.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Okay. I don't think I ever
God,
tried
you
that.
are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now.
I know, I'm dying here.
Killing us, Stanley.
It is killing me.
I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution.
Yes.
Here, let me show you.
Yes. Make this end. This endless cycle of like never finding closure. I do need it to stop. I need some finality.
We want? What are we looking for? Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy.
Yes, we have already savored this moment, narrator.
No, wait. Where are you going? Please,
I
Stanley.
must.
No! Why are you doing this?
Because I need closure.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm
Is it?
going back.
I swear to God. There has to be a way out of this. But we won't find it today. There has to be something. There has to be something. I'll find my way through it. Maybe this game is in some way activating my the issues that I have mostly overcome, but one of them has emerged out of that struggle for overcoming perfection, which is like the need for completion. Like if I can't complete something, then that removes from me like one of the solutions that I found to my perfectionism. So I guess it's back to the drawing board to figure out how I'm going to get some closure from this game. But I'm not going to find it by trying what I've already done. Well, that was another adventure through the Stanley Parable. A game that the deeper I get into it, the more meandering it feels. Or perhaps its secrets just become more obscure. And I have to keep looking with a bit more scrutiny. Well, we'll keep looking for next time. Until then, thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.